Welcome to this next trip on our voyage around the world using Straightway. Straightway is a navigation app I wrote myself, originally for hiking and cycling and even sailing, but now I tweaked it a little bit so it can be used as a VFR navigation system in aviation. So the idea is to demonstrate with these videos what Straightway is capable of, and we're doing that using a flight simulator, but Straightway is really intended for use in the real world. So you cannot use a Straightway actually in a flight simulator unless you write the connection code that I made for these videos, which is not available. Anyway, so we're off. We're today, it's the 28th of April. I think it's the 7th. I don't know what's the number of the leg, but we arrived here on the 19th of April, and now it's the 25th of April. Where are we? We are in Sri Lanka. So we flew in from Mumbai, all the way here, and today we're gonna hop over on our tour around the world. This stretch of what is the ocean called? This stretch of ocean. If you want to know what it's called, just oh yeah, that's the Bay of Bengal. Switch the maps, and you have the geographic or topographic map. We're gonna fly to this point, which is Banda, Aceh. If you may recall, it has a infamous ring to it because that's where the tsunami of when was it, 2010, 2011, had the most devastating impact. And we are gonna put a arrow there. So our target, just click on the little flag in the top corner, and now our target is somewhere in Banda. It doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be the airport, it's just we have time enough to do that when we're in the air. But it's just to get our direction. And you see the arrow points our, gives our direction. And that's all we need to do for the time being in Straightway. Perhaps we can use it for taxiing. It's not a complicated airport. So here we are. This is where we arrived last time, the same spot. And perhaps check the weather. I'm using an app called Metar. What is it called? Well, you'll see. Got Bandaranaike International Airport, that's where we are. And the wind is currently at 7 knots, 250. And the barometer is at 1007. I'm gonna make a note of that. And that's it. There's no ATC, so we're gonna start up the citation. And we do that, of course, by in our cockpit here. Check our controls. Parking brake set. Battery on. Avionics to full. Standby display. And armor lights. That's getting active. And then we can right away start up. That's how easy it is. We have a full load of fuel fully loaded, so just because we can. Get our beacon on, because we are gonna start up our engine, and there we go. So left engine starter, start engine number 1, and it's static. We can immediately make it run. It's coming up. At 50 it should stabilize. Okay, we're there. I'm gonna put switch on the lights. Nav lights, logo, and already taxi lights. There we are, and interior lights as well, cockpit lights. And now that the number 1 engine is has stabilized, I can hear it by the sound. I don't have to see the gouges. I can click the right starter. Oh, close this. Open the guard and click run for the right engine. Close the guard. There you go. Now these videos are not, we're using the citation because it's an easy plane to fly. It's reasonably fast, it has a good autopilot, and so ideal to demonstrate straightway. It also has no auto throttle, which makes it more charming to fly. It's some challenge. Okay. Now, Flight Simulator put us very close to these facilities. Not sure if we can... So we're gonna take off from a runway. I think it suggests here the runways, but the wind is from 250, and if we watch the runways, we have only one option. 2 options, 4 or 20, so it's gonna be 22. Runway 22. So we just need to taxi. We're gonna taxi all the way to A or even to B. It's a big runway. Let's make it A, all the way till the end. So this is our turn-off point. And if we can catch this point here, just as a reference, and then we're good to go. Gotta check my pedals. Well, perhaps we're gonna set the autopilot while we're stationary, because we have to do that on the threshold. So our barometer was 1007. Changing that now. There we are. Cruising altitude, as always, 41,000 feet. That's flight level 410. Come on. And our FLC. Flight level change will be 230 knots. Also pretty standard. And then our heading, buck. We are arm it, but we need to set it when we are at the runway. Okay, so now the autopilot has been programmed and the rest is for pre-flight. I hope we can turn to the left. Parking brakes release, and off we go. I don't know why Flight Simulator puts us so close, but I think our wings just will slice through it. Are we moving? Yes, we're moving. To turn here. And catch our line, which will be this. And we're on our way to our threshold. So the target line is already pointing to Banda, Aceh in Indonesia, and it's 928 nautical miles. So it'll be a long flight today over water, but just gonna let the Cessna fly on autopilot, of course. I said we're gonna go all the way to the end of the runway. We probably won't be needing that much, but I didn't measure the length of the runway, though we can do that in a straightaway. So just to make sure. We have enough space. It's overkill for the citation, but for safety reasons. Coming up on our thresholds. And there we are, runway 22. Parking brakes release. So ready for runway 22 pre-flight. The basic stuff, there's no ATC, no radio, no squawk code, so we're gonna do our flight controls. First our trim. Gonna down trim a bit. Put it in the middle. And our flaps 15. Also standard. And we need to activate our pitot, though it's what's the temperature? 32 degrees. Well, you never know. Standard, activate pitot. And we're ready to just need to set our heading buck. Parking brakes released, cleared for the runway for takeoff. to a full stop and set our runway heading. Do that by clicking on the heading knob. And now it's runway heading is set, and we're cleared for takeoff. We're ready for takeoff. Parking brakes release, full power, and off we go. We'll rotate at 110. Rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Stabilize, trimming the aircraft, and flaps up. And we're activating the autopilot. There we go. We're on autopilot and climbing away from Colombo. That's the airstrip we just took off from, and we're heading out to sea. Climbing out of the haze. And that must be Colombo in the background here. So that's the peninsula here, you see. And we're flying away from Banda Aceh. So what we're gonna do is go to our navigation screen display, and we have to turn somewhat more than 90 degrees to the left. So we're gonna do that visually here on the bug, and turn the bug to the just visually. You match it on straightway, like so. And we're turning. And we're gonna fly straight over Colombo, capital of Sri Lanka. Now look at that. So we estimated the turn we had to make, and it's about straight to Banda Aceh. Of course you can do this because there's no ATC, no airspaces. It's just showing how straightway works. And that's the what is that called? That's the port. I suppose it's the financial city. Oh, that's the Colombo Finance Center. It's at the port, which is very convenient. And that river is... what is the name of that river? So I have it on my phone here. Why can't I find... oh, here it is. So that's the Kelani Ganga River. and it flows into the ocean here. So that's really downtown Colombo. On our way to Caduela, which will be here. Where are we? Just go, no, we're way north of Caduela. Coming up on this highway. Should be there, right over it. There it is. That's the road. That's that road here. And we are on our way to Indonesia. Almost, look at that, 94, 94. So we're tracking 94 and Indonesia is at 94, all true north. We're dead on target, just by estimating. Ha! I'm getting better at this. We're gonna fly over the southern part of Sri Lanka. I don't know if there are any landmarks. I have to admit to my shame that I'm not familiar with. I only know that it was the residence of Arthur C. Clarke for the last part of his life, and he was near a very remarkable geographic feature. It looked like a cliff or an outcrop in the middle of lush green forest. But oh, there's a Panama in Sri Lanka. So this will be our track, and go to the other map. This is our relief, our elevation map, and you can see that the center of Sri Lanka is a kind of a central massif. Like in France, just out of nowhere there are these mountains. Quite remarkable. And we're flying right over it. And then onto the ocean. Huge stretch onto Banda Aceh. This being said, I'm gonna see if there are those mountains. If you do have a visual. Yes. Here are the mountains, which is the do they have a name, those that mountain range or mountain feature? The Sriawardhanpura? Is that the name of the... no. So this is where we are, and this is where the mountains start. Won't bother us because we are already at 30,000 feet, and I should change the barometer to standard, and also our landing lights. Didn't do our pre-check and our strobe. This is not a flight video, so I forgot to put on the landing lights for takeoff and our airport strobe. But I try to keep into it because otherwise, I mean, it's offensive to a lot of viewers if I don't. I'm not a pilot in any sort in the real world, and not a flight simmer either. I'm just using it to demonstrate straightway, and it's one of the few things you can thoroughly test. That's navigation systems for airplanes, because you have a flight simulator. It's much harder to test on a computer like a navigation system for hiking, or for cycling, or even for sailing, because there are no simulators for hiking, but there are for flying. So that's why this works so well. So what we do is we just there's only one target we need to go to. That's on one route, which is Banda Aceh right now. But as soon we are at cruise level, we'll also program our approach, so our runway. And you'll see how we do that. That's another thing we shouldn't do. That is full power the citation. I think we would have burned through the engines right now, because it was at takeoff power all the time I was talking. And I've reset that now to the climb indent, just to can see it if we drop the seat. There it is. So I don't know if you can see it. Go even lower. There it is. So it's in the climb indent, and it says so here. It says so. There is the our thrust setting is in the climb indent, and we're almost at cruising altitude, which is where we'll need to reduce power a bit, otherwise we'll start over speeding, because there's no auto throttle in the citation. And where are we? Over those mountains. We're dead over it. It's not the Alps. I mean, the tops are, let's have a, it's 2,500 meters, so it's probably 25 degrees up there. Yeah, 2,300. It's not the Himalaya, but still, you can imagine it's a bit cooler there. So it's a bit like in Kenya, where you can go up to drop your temperature with like 10 degrees. So probably a very nice climate in those mountains. Again, straightway. I'm not in a real plane, so I have Wi-Fi, I have internet. So whenever I click zoom in, a new map is loaded through the Wi-Fi. But if you would have done that, like say before in the real world, before your flight at the airport, and watched all these maps, they're automatically loaded into the memory of your phone. And you would have had access to them in the plane without Wi-Fi. So that's a wonderful thing of Straightway. You don't need to actively download maps. It's just what you see is what you get literally on your phone. So the maps you see is what is stored on your phone. until you delete the cache of the app, or delete straight away. So if you reinstall straight away, you start with a screen SLAT, but the root, any routes and any targets will be saved in your no, if you reinstall straight away, everything is gone. If you delete it, then, but if you restart straight away, the routes you put in there, it's all still in the memory of your phone. So the offline feature is mainly in aviation. Lots of times you're out of Wi-Fi reach, and it's for free. The maps are they're not mine; they're OpenStreetMap. Here we go. We're coming up to our cruise altitude. So this is the bottom straightway. You can see donate to OSM, and if I click on donate to OpenStreetMap, it's like the Wikipedia of maps. So here you can donate to OpenStreetMap and keep it free. So apps like mine can continue to exist for free, or at least for the basic part. Okay, so we've come to our cruise altitude. I'm gonna reduce our throttle a bit so that we don't get any overspeed. So we're cruising now over Sri Lanka. And Colombo is a distant memory already. And we are flying over Arthur C. Clarke country. Well, no, it's not his country. It's Sri Lanka. But that is what I know it from. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will be justifiably outraged about this. Must be a wonderful country. That's why you moved there. Oh. Where are we? And that's already the shore, the seaboard. We can see in the background. There's a lake feature on our left, but they are hard to distinguish from this altitude. That's I'm not gonna start pronouncing that names, but they're all on the so that's if you go to the other map, which is more the man-made map. Oh yeah, so here it's in English because English is the second language, I think. That's why everything is in English in the first map, in the anthropogenic or the cultural map. But that's not always the case. So if you go to let's say here, I think this is Burma. They said, well, no English. We do it in our local language. But if you go to the other map, it's always in English. You got the local language, but you also have the English. So that's one. The geographic map, topographic map, you have always have English names. And here we are, about to cross the ocean. And that's ahead of us. Now, we've gone up then our approach already, even provisionary. So we're gonna go to Banda Aceh. Sorry. Change maps again. Because the first map is to find an airport. It's easier. You see the little airplanes. And there's the big airport of Bandar Udara International Sultan Iskandar Muda. This will be our destination airport. What we're gonna do already is place 2 markers there. So there's only 1 runway, that's easy. Put a marker at each threshold of the runway, so the other one as well. And that's the only thing we need to do. So that's the runway. It's now kind of entered into straightway, and we need to check the wind. So to know which direction we need to land, go to the abstain. We go to the Banda Midar Tough. That's how what the app is called. There are other apps, of course. It needs to check on me. And that takes a lot of time. Come on. If you persist doing this, I'm gonna check on another app. Right. Let's see if we can find another app. Let's see. Meteor Blue, a nice Swiss app. So, this is called Meteor Blue. And it has this, these are the winds. So we're going to Banda Aceh, which is here. And it says, there it is, Banda Aceh, 4 knots. And it's coming from the north, so we will land, we have to land from the south to the north. That's all we needed to know. And the other one is still checking. No. It has definitely rejected me. Anyway, we have another source. So, back to where we are. Banda Aceh, we're going to land from the south to the north. So the south will be our active thresholds, and the north will be our inactive thresholds. We're going to make a little route now, and the last waypoint should be the active threshold. So the first waypoint should be the inactive. go to the first waypoint, just tap in the vicinity, and now it selects that waypoint and add it to the route. Yeah. You see the button at halfway the screen on the right, click on it, and now the inactive threshold has been entered. And then go to the other. The active threshold, like so. And this is our waypoint number 2. And now the only thing we need to do is get the elevation, switch maps. So we have the topographic map now, and you see these elevation lines, and it says here 20. So that's an elevation line that crosses the runway at 20 meters. So we're gonna go to the navigation screen. Make sure we're at the last waypoint. We are at the last. How come we have 4? Hold on. We still had a old route in there. Gonna delete it and start all over again. That was an old route from the previous flight. There's only one route in straightway. So the route of the previous flight was still in there. So what we're gonna do is on the phone, again enter the first waypoint and the second waypoint. Okay, now we're set. Go to the navigation screen. Make sure you're on the last waypoint, so number 2. Then make sure the magenta, the CDI needle is activated, and then you see the 168, which is the a runway heading. Well, reverse it. Now it's reversed, and the little airplane has appeared. Click on the airplane, and there you can enter your 20 meters as runway elevation. And we're going to do a parent altitude of 1500. And click on the orange button to calculate everything, and now you can see it as calculated. The runway length is 9,800 feet, which is ample sufficient. And our parent altitude will be 1565 feet. Our runway elevation is 65 feet. That's 20 meters, 65 feet. And if we go back to our navigation screen, there's some new information that has appeared. Most notably, the 617 nautical miles, that's the distance to our top of descent. And the parent altitude, 1565, that doesn't change, of course. And then on the left is our current altitude. And that's all we need to know to land in Banda Aceh. Okay, what's a bit confusing perhaps, because there was an old route from the previous flight, but I hope you bear with me. I'm gonna do a last check to, you see the little flag on the empty flag on the right? If you click on it, you go to your target. So you can click on the current button, you go to your current position. So it doesn't change your destination, it just tells you where to go on the map. So you can toggle between your destination, your target, and your current position. Instead of having to scroll like this all the way to the end of the line, you can just click on the little flag. And why did I get back to? Because it's a bit mountainous, and perhaps we need to put in some, because we'll be flying at 1500. So what I'm gonna do is put in, because you have these mountains here, we want to stay clear of them. This is a yeah, it is 1500 meters, so it's at our parent altitude. We don't want to fly over it some way or somehow in our approach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in auxiliary waypoints. that puts us here, which is nice and flat. There are no mountains. You can see it better if you zoom out. It's green, which means flat. So we're gonna put a waypoint here and then another waypoint here. And the easiest thing to do that is just to yeah, there are different ways to do that, but if we just delete the route and we do everything, first we're gonna put in the waypoints. I think this would be, we're at, you see the top, the left corner. If you switch to the little flag, you have the crosshairs, distance to your destination. So 4 nautical miles, 5 nautical miles. That's a bit, yeah. We're gonna need a that's too far, too short. We're gonna need I think the best thing to do is to put a marker here and then fly in from over this mountain. You see, this is kind of this is a high point and this is a high point. Fly in from here, and in that way we don't have to do any sharp turns. So we can, now we are at 36 nautical miles from the airport. An alternative would be that we go over this ridge. It's higher. So what we're gonna do is we fly in from here. And then do our approach. So the simplest thing is to, now we have 4 waypoints. Just to show you how you can, I mean, if you would do this at night, VFR, that, well, it's kinda hairy, but we'll do it anyway, regardless if we have IFR or not, VFR or not. What we're gonna do is we're still doing fine in our plane, our little plane. Hope you enjoy the oops, we lost our so we're gonna delete the route we have, that we put in. Just route, delete, put on the dustbin. You see the waste basket, dustbin. Click on it, and now it says continue. We will permanently delete all the entire route. So you delete the route, but not the markers. The other dustbin, there you delete all markers and also then the routes begin, because the route needs the markers. So we're gonna delete the route. Yes. Now, okay, the route is gone. Means we're gonna construct the new route, which is of course this one first. Add it, and then that other waypoint, which is it's a bit hard to see. You can see it better here. And then we're kind of aligned with the runway. And then our runway, but remember, first the inactive threshold, which is the top one, and as the last one is the active threshold. So And now we have, if you go to number 1, this will be, that's the waypoint above the plane, and that's the inactive threshold, and that's the active threshold. Okay? So, we need to reactivate our top of descent information. That's because we deleted routes, and then straight away it reverts to things. I'm again cycling or hiking, and you don't need the airplane stuff anymore. So you have to reactivate it. Go to the last waypoint, and click on the airplane, and click on the orange thing, and now we have our top of descent again. Now another way to avoid this is to make R parent altitude much higher. Like, so it's now at 1500 feet, but because of those mountains, perhaps I should have, and those are volcanoes, I think. We've got time to burn. I mean, still 700 nautical miles, still 500 miles till we have to descend. So we can 1500 feet is kind of a standard parent altitude, and so that's what I put in always. But once you get into mountains, it's safer to have a higher parent altitude, like 2500, and we're gonna do that now. Go back to the airplane and put in 2500. 2500. Calculate and watch the bottom. So it says, well, if you are at 2500, you need a longer descent distance from your final approach fix to the threshold. It's gonna be like 7 nautical miles, 8 nautical miles. And if we go to our this waypoint here we had, you can if you select it and then click on you see the 4 arrows on the left, you click on it and now you can place it somewhere else. And where are we gonna place it? Further away, like here. feet. Click on the save button, under the 4 arrows, and now the waypoint has been placed there. So this point will certainly be at 2500 feet. And that's how we're gonna do it. So, put our targets to the first waypoint, this one. So click on the top, 3, 1. So now we are. You can see it shows the corridors. That's 2 nautical miles. 4 nautical miles. The width of that channel. It says here, channel width in meters. It's 7,408 meters. That's exactly 4 nautical miles. Yeah. So go to the first one and now we're set. So we're flying to this waypoint and then that waypoint, and then we'll start using the CDI needle of the runway. I know it's I took my time because we have nothing else to do, and it was a bit confusing because we changed tack. We increased from 1500 feet to 2500 feet in for safety reasons, and that's really how you should do it. And now you can further increase safety, but that you do while descending by increasing your angle of descent. So a normal angle of descent would be 3.5 degrees, but you straightway will show you the angle of descent. You can say, now I'm going to descend at 4 or even at 5, so you fly in steep to a mountainous area, which is always safer. So this should set us up for a very safe approach. Go to the other map. You can see it better. So this will be our approach. VFR made ourselves. Okay. In the meantime, we're way over. Oh, we got an overspeed. You don't hear that when you're not in the cockpit, but it's yeah, we don't have an auto throttle. And in a real plane, you would never leave the cockpit as I did now. There we are. Luckily, we didn't crash. And I think our pounds per hour flow for one engine should be at 500. Gonna put that here, and then we don't get a problem anymore. Should just like this. No, that's too much. That's 530, and that should keep us below the overspeeds. Okay. I'm gonna check our course. We're at 94, so our new waypoint, remember the waypoint above the ocean, is at 98, so we need to turn sorry, we need to turn the add some bucks to the at 4 degrees bucks to the right, and the autopilot 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we'll start yeah, we're turning, and we'll start turning to 98 true north. There we go. Turning. We're slightly turning. And that's a heading of 100. So that's the deviation, variation difference between true north and magnetic north, because this is of course magnetic north, but we don't work really with that magnetic north when we fly with straightway. We do everything relative to true north. So we will be, I know that's heresy, but we will be hardly watching the course, the magnetic course on the citation. We use it in a, well, in a relative way, so to speak. That's why I said 4 bucks to the right, 4 degrees to the right. I didn't say turn to a 101, because there's a magnetic deviation and variation of, yeah, it's 3, huh? We're tracking now at 98 and we're flying 101. So there's it's 3, but we don't bother with that. We just do everything relative. And it works. We're perfectly going towards our waypoint. And this is where I'm gonna leave you for a while, gonna take a nap. and see you back. Our topo descent is within 500 nautical miles, and there won't be much to see. So I'm gonna put you. You're flying around the world, so in real time, real weather. I'm not gonna cut anything, and just gonna say goodbye here. Gonna take a nap in the back of the plane. Trust our autopilots, and catch you later. Bye bye. we're back from our little nap just in time, because we are at 7 nautical miles from our top of descent, and since we're landing in mountainous terrain, we're gonna keep it rather steep, so we're gonna go over a 3.5 descent angle, and you'll see what I mean with that in just a few seconds. One nautical mile, almost there. There we are. So straightway starts giving a descent angle as of 2.5 degrees. That's why we now have 2.5. We're gonna wait till it's at least 3.5 before we start. Get my pedals right before we start descending to Banda Aceh, because as said, we've got kind of mountainous terrain. I'll show you again. For people who so you got these mountains here, and we're kind of flying at 2,500 feet apparent altitude. And we need to check on the weather conditions in Banda Aceh. And gonna see if our okay, Banda Aceh. Looks like we're back yes. We'll go to our map. That's the easiest. Just go through here, and there we have Banda Aceh. We have a VFR, which is nice, and if I click on it, we get the full METAR. Oh no. It's 1007, so that's the first thing we gotta do. And it's getting evening already here. So arm at 107, that's the same as when we took off. And the wind has is now coming from, it has turned. So we need to so the wind has now turned. It has it's coming from the south. So yeah, we need to change our direction of landing. But first we're gonna see where we are. 2.9. We'll first start our descent, because that changes everything. We'll need to fly in from the north. And flying in from the north, there are no restrictions of mountains. Now we can just fly in. We can just fly in. And and even keep us our altitude at 1500. That should be, but we'll first initiate our descent. We're 3.0. Let's wait a little bit. So if you may recall, we programmed our approach for a south approach, so landing on the south threshold. And we have to reverse that. We have to land from the north, so our pattern will be a straight-in pattern from the north. Right base. 3.5, we're going to take the normal descent angle, so we're going to wait till it's 3.5. And then going to set our altitude to 1500, so we'll have a 1500 pattern altitude. It still says 2500. We're going to change that, so 1500. There you go. And just to prepare our vertical speed here. Our vertical speed mode for the autopilot for descent. And that is now armed and waiting till we have 3.5. It stays on vertical speed, which is good. Got a new altitude selected, 1500. 3.3. So we need to change our vertical speed, our descent rate to 2300, because straightaway says 2232 now. So as soon as we reach 3.5, we'll start descending. Almost there. Well, it doesn't has to be that strict. We can start descending earlier, but okay, well, for demonstration's sake, we'll keep it strict at 3.5. And there you go. So, descent rate at 2500. And reducing our power because there's no auto throttle. There we are. And that should keep us on a glide slope of 3.5. Or glide path of 3.5. Okay. So now we can restart our reprogramming our approach. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna keep all the markers, but just delete the route. So route delete, yes. Now the route is deleted, so we have to insert a new route, and that will be a very simple, just the runway. So this time it's reversed. This is our inactive threshold, so that's the first waypoint, and our last waypoint should be the active threshold. And that's all we need to do. The elevation of the runway hasn't changed. Just activate it. You need to click on this orange button to really show the new info. And now we are landing at 168. And you can see we have a deviation, which is we have to turn to the left. We have to turn substantially to the left, so we're going to do that here. So we're turning now. We have to turn to 73. And our descent rate is should increase our descent rate to 3,000. That's getting steep. That's a bit steep. You can see it by the descent rate of 3,000 feet per minute, which is, yeah, that's steep. But we'll keep that way. We're descending faster than we should, and then we'll reduce that descent rate. Hopefully, we're going almost straight to where we need to go. Just 1 degree difference. Turn to the left 1 degree. And now we are on track for the for just the right base pattern for runway. That's 17, I think. That must be 17. Gonna check. Yeah, 17. Right base pattern. So in our approach, there are these mountains, but they are on the east side of the runway. Perhaps we need to watch out for this, which is, well, that's not that high. These are at, well, 600 meters. This is, that's well over 1,500 feet, so we definitely have to watch out for those when we do our approach. And our approach will be here. This this is the line to our current position. Here we are. So we'll be making a 90 degrees turn here. So we'll never get to this point, which is at 12 nautical miles from the runway. We'll do our turn at like 10 nautical miles. So we'll never get here. That's good that we know these things before we. You might end up in IFR conditions, and then we're beautifully clear of the mountains. How are we doing on our descent rate? 2,700. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at 3,100. So that our descent rate will gradually drop to 3.5. Why? Because we are descending faster than what straightway suggests. We're descending at 3,100, whereas straightway says 2,700 for 4.3. That means we will be decreasing our descent angle. So that 4.3 should start dropping. Yeah, 4.2. So what you see is we're flying straight to the threshold, the active threshold, almost. 1-2 to the right. And at the distance of approximately 7 nautical miles, we're gonna turn to our right downwind leg and do the approach VFR flyer box pattern. We're doing these patterns. We start our descent on final. We don't start our descent on base. We'll wait till we are established on final to separate the variables of descent and vertical variable and the horizontal variable. If that makes sense. And we can start to see the coastline of Banda Aceh. And these are those mountains that we no longer have to fly over. Do we? Well, if we at 7 nautical miles, we turn to the left, then we're just gonna pass left to these mountains. So we'll need to keep a watch out. So we'll go like this, 7 nautical miles distance, and then turn on downwind, and then fly our pattern. Oh, 1500. Forgot to enter that. What is that gonna do to our descent rate? 2200. Okay. Doesn't change much. But our descent angle is at gonna watch out we don't we'll be at 250 at 10,000 feet, and of course gonna change our and let's not forget our landing lights. Yeah. So barometer is now set to the airport. We're at 3.7, almost at 3.5, and then we'll decrease our descent rate to 2,500. Sorry, 2009. Yeah, okay. So our descent rates increase it to 1900. Decrease it, sorry, to 1900. And now we should stay at 3.5. Always take the larger number. So basically the pilot is interfacing between Straightway and the autopilot of the citation. That's how it works. Because it's just on your phone. Straightway is just on your phone. Let's turn at 10 nautical miles to make sure we're keep clear of those mountains. Speed is good, 220 knots. We're descending a bit too fast. 1500. So those are if we turn to the left, we have to watch out for these mountains. You can see them here. These mountains. So we'll need to go past them. That's at 7 nautical miles. So when the 16, the yellow number, is at 7 nautical miles, only then we'll start turning to the left. And where are we doing on our speed? So watch out that once we hit our pattern altitude, let's make it 1600 because it's 1565. Once we hit our pattern altitude, we increase the throttle. There's no auto throttle. And we're almost there, 13 nautical miles to the center line. So that's the Magenta number. That's a perpendicular distance to the, the cross-track error to the center line of the runway. And if that's at 7 or approaches 7, we'll start turning to the left. And again, we're going to do that by doing it on sight. It's approximately 90 degrees. We need to turn to the left. Whoops. And you see here that we cleared as expected, cleared at mountain range to the left. I will start turning to the left now. Turning to our left downwind. And the airport must be somewhere over there.
Altitude.
And we're gonna hit our pattern altitude. Pretty so. So we are stabilized at about 7 nautical miles from the center line, which is good. And the airport should be there. Somewhere. Let's make sure we fly perfectly parallel. And straight away now, because we're at pattern altitude, start giving you a descent angle to the runway. And that should be 3.5. This is we can only already start our turn on base. And go ahead. flaps 15 and landing gear. Turn a bit further. Let's keep our speed just under 35 flap speed so we can extend when we're ready. And try, we're now on right base. Gonna turn to the right when you see the magenta number, that's our cross-track error to the center line. As if when that's at 2 nautical miles, the needle will start moving. And we can turn onto final. And the runway should be somewhere over there. Let's trust straightway. Lovely island. Let's get back to the cockpit. Yeah, start turning. To the right. Turn on final. Now intercept the needle. We should be the tail should be at 168, and there is the runway already. We can switch. Oh, that was my pedals. We can switch to manual.
Autopilot.
And full flaps. Got gear extended and full flaps. Gonna bring our. We're flying manual now, so manually. And we're at 4.2, a glide slope, which is a bit steep, but that's okay. Thousand feet, and we're descending at 1,000 feet, so. Feet. So straightway suggests 600, and we are at, I think we are at 600. And almost there. Full power cut off. And flare. And a lovely volcano in the background. And brakes, because there's no auto thrust on the citation. Okay, well, let's get off. I think we need to go to the right. Yep. Yep, I'm watching the map, and straightway it's, oh, there's a turn-off point. So we're gonna go for that exit. Gonna go for that one. Flaps up. Well, where is it now? Should be here. There you go. Welcome to Banda Aceh. Gonna park here to flaps up and then pre-taxi our strobe off and our taxi lights on. And that's only where we're gonna taxi to. Well, we're gonna pick here. Apparently we can go just straight ahead. And here's the building. So we just follow a we'll turn to the left and follow the lines. And that should be this. We'll take the next one. Just before the sunset. Oh, we get a full airway. Like a big boy. Yeah, we're just dead on target. So, here we are at Banda Aceh Airport, and hope you found this useful. But now, since we're here, we're gonna see what that volcano is. Yeah, it's right behind the plane. So if we're here, and we switch the map to that must be, we're looking at the plane. It must be, oh, here it is. That's Kot Selawi Agaran. Wow, it's 1800 meters high. Luckily we missed that one. Yeah, it really shows. It's like Mount Hood, it stands out. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this last trip in our trip around the world, and hope to catch you for the next trip. Bye bye.